Christian, you mentioned this a little bit earlier, but we're going to talk about Jason Aldean getting dethroned by a newcomer named Oliver Anthony, I believe his name is. This is a guy who was just making country music songs in his backyard on his farm, and he wrote a song called Richmond, North of Richmond. And it's basically about how you have these elite, rich liberals who believe that they know best for everyone, and the working man gets basically screwed because of these rich men and their machinations. And it's kind of like an indictment on just like the Democrat Party in general and rich liberal elites and all this stuff. And it's actually a pretty catchy song. And he released it independently, and it's blown up completely virally. The country music
I bought it.
Kind of like people
bought it.
Just
gravitated towards this thing. Go buy it for $1 on Apple. Yeah.
Buy it on iTunes.
Yeah. I don't spend money on music.
To support. Okay. All right.
But the big news is that his song has dethroned Jason Aldean, whose hit single "Try That in a Small Town."
I completely forgot about that song.
Yeah. So like that was another one that was kind of controversial, but like it was a kind of like a rallying anthem for people who are disaffected by the current political state in Hollywood.
I have a question. Do we know for a fact that this song is against democratic liberals? Is this just an assumption because of what the song is about, or could it just be
do you
about?
know who lives north of Richmond, Virginia?
No, I'm
rich liberal elites.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So
I'm from the Midwest. So.
I think it's pretty evident what he's talking about.
Okay.
And maybe like Christian can correct me once I'm done with my monologue. But I think that this is kind of like a bigger groundswell that we're seeing, and this is one of the reasons why the media is trying to quash it, is the fact that more and more people are kind of like answering these rallying cries. In fact, just today, 13 days after the wildfires devastated Maui, Joe Biden's finally gone to Hawaii, and during the reception of his speech and stuff like that, he literally fell asleep. He fell asleep.
Yeah, I saw a video of Maui locals giving him the middle finger while he's coming down the
first he when they asked him about the Maui wildfires, he said no comment, which if he was a Republican president would have gotten him impeached immediately.
Yeah.
Then he had to interrupt his vacation to his beach house in order to go to Maui. And then when he gets to Maui, he just falls asleep in public on the stage where he's where he's supposed to be giving remarks to, kind of like help assuage people's fears and stuff like that. And then he's like, oh, I'm going to give you $700 per family. Whereas the amount of aid that he's giving to Ukraine dwarfs that. In fact, the bill that he and the Democrats put towards Congress for relief for the Maui families, emergency funding reliefs, had $100 and something billion tied to it for Ukraine, because they were trying to slip it through with the emergency Maui funding. And when people voted against that, they're like, oh, you don't want to help people in Maui. It's like, no, we don't want you to be funding Ukraine on the backs of the tragedy that's going on in Maui. And so you have all these things that, our two-tier justice system where, like, if you're a Biden family member, you get away with everything, criminal scot-free, sweetheart deals, all this other stuff. These songs that these people are writing seem to kind of encapsulate the frustration that a lot of people are feeling with all the hypocrisy and stuff out there. And the fact that they're gaining more and more popularity, I think just goes to show that there's a greater awareness of bad stuff happening than the media gives it credit for. Christian, what's your take on that?
Well, you're 100% right. The reason why these songs are resonating is not because it's the most amazing song in the world or the greatest voice or the greatest lyrics, because they're touching on issues that are driving Americans crazy. And we need a voice, and these are the next best thing to actually having a functioning media landscape or having politicians who do their jobs. And all, as you're talking, I'm like, I could just go down a detour and just be outraged by it. I mean, imagine having a crisis like we have in Maui, and the president says no comment. How hard is it to say, gosh, it's the most terrible thing, we're going to do everything we can, and then move on? You couldn't even muster that. But back to the artists here. Yeah, I mean, this is This is a population that is not being heard. This is a population that knows it's being lied to by the press, and they need some sort of connection. And then the singer comes along and he gets it. And just to clarify, the song isn't overtly political, but he's singing about corrupt politicians who control our lives. Well, who's in charge now? Who's controlling our lives? Well, it's the Democrats. And that's why the media initially tried to ignore the story of the song's success. And then they attacked the song as being, it's just the work of right-wing influencers. And this one really sticks in my craw. And this is something that we really should remember. Variety magazine wrote about the song finally and wrote about Oliver Anthony. And it said within its story, you have to go read it. It's just amazing. They basically admitted that they dug through this guy's past looking for dirt.
Yep.
And then when they couldn't find it, they just said, well, we couldn't, there wasn't seemingly anything about him we could explore. Now, the media will look the other way while we have bank receipts and whistleblowers about all sorts of insane madness going on in the Biden family. But if a singer comes out from nowhere and has a runaway hit, they're going to do a deep dive on him. That's where our culture is. That's where our media is. It is nauseating. And God bless this guy. I hope he can stay sane, because there is a target on his back, and the media is going to do everything possible to make him a pariah. And they may just make it work. They may just find something that they can exploit in this guy. But I feel badly for him, even though he's having the time of his life and having a success story unlike any other.
Yeah, Nadia, when I was kind of going through the list of things that kind of adds to the frustration of like the country music fan, like you looked like you were hearing some of this for the first time. Was that the case?
Is some of with the cases with Maui, especially. I mean, today I learned that there's quite a few children missing too. I guess when the alarms went off, they kept the kids at home and parents went to work. This is supposedly from what I read, in that when everything, they couldn't get home to their own kids. And now there's hundreds of children missing too on it. I don't want to say avoiding news about Biden. It's just because it's the same thing. It's an embarrassment. It's frustration.
Yeah.
I feel bad for our country. I feel bad for the working people of this country. And I've heard the song. I like the song a lot, but I didn't realize, I thought they had taken a non-political song and made it political, even though it's just a guy singing from his heart about the frustrations that he's dealing with from day to day that most people are.
I mean, it's mostly apolitical. There's an element there, and you can read into it, as you wish. And I think that's actually the sign of a good storyteller, where he's not saying Biden bad, Trump good, or something like that. He's laying out a story. There's a line in the song where he says something like, "In this new society, I feel like an old soul." Well, he's not 80. He's a young man, but he feels old because there's been such rapid change and such a degradation of our culture in just a very short time. It's a beautiful line. He gets it. And that's why people are responding to it.
Yeah, we have a comment here from Red Pill Rants. He says, the children were actually sent home. They were already at school, and they were sent home to parentless homes.
Yeah, and then by then, when it happened, parents couldn't get to their kids, and now we don't know the lost count of it.
What's crazy is I learned from The Sound of Freedom that child traffickers
will use events like this.
We'll look for natural disasters, especially like war-torn things where like there are orphans and stuff like that, where they will go there and they will basically just pick up children who have been displaced by these events and use them for their nefarious means. It's just like, oh man, like would that actually be happening in Maui right now?
And crazy. I feel there's a very big lack of coverage about Maui. I feel like we covered it for a few days and now all these poor people have to rebuild their lives. And there's no coverage of it, but we're covering, they're making Biden look like a saint. But
the crazy thing is like, so you had like the Democratic governance there who basically refused to release water to fight the wildfires because of equity reasons. Have you heard of that?
Yes, that I recently heard. Yeah, it's really a shame that something like this did not bring the country together to help each other. We should be helping each other instead of pushing more of a divide against each other.
We're helping here. I mean, I don't know how it is nationally, but here locally,
help.
But we have a monster Hawaiian community here. Las Vegas, Henderson is known as the ninth island.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of people. I know people that know people that were directly affected. My cousin lives on that island. They're good, luckily, but they're going through some stuff. They know a lot of people that were affected by this. But here locally, it's very nice to see. We've donated tons and tons and tons of money and stuff over there. But nationally, I don't know. But as far as the news and Biden and that kind of stuff goes, I don't know. I don't pay attention to it because it's just status quo. Biden's a piece of shit.
But the thing
what
is,
do you expect?
The leader of our country should be uniting us. There should be some strong.
He hasn't united us ever. Not one fucking time.
That's what I'm saying.
Since he's been elected.
In a case like this, there should be some strength to it.
But this is also part of like a pattern that we've seen with this administration in particular. Yeah. Where do you guys remember East Palestine, Ohio?
Yeah, yeah,
where it was like one of the worst natural. Not natural, but one of the worst.
I care. Sorry, internet. I care.
One of the worst man-made disasters. In our country. And Biden didn't even bother to show up.
There's still people affected by it too.
He's too busy taking naps.
It was the wrong demographic. It was too much of a white community.
Yeah.
And by the way, this might be a hot take, easily dismissed, but where's this? Have celebrities been rallying
for Maui?
For Maui?
Well, not unless you're from there. Like Jason Momoa, yes.
I mean, maybe some of those guys, do a telethon or do some sort of event, or do something, do like a viral video where I just gave 500,000. I'm hoping all my celebrity friends do the same. I mean, to their credit, celebrities have done this in the past with hurricanes. But I think this is my darkest thought. Maybe the fact that they know it'll reflect badly on Biden, that just the more attention you bring to the hardship there, they got to.
Yeah, I mean, like, where's the TikTok video of all the celebrities singing, "We Are the World" for Maui?
All for Maui.
I saw a funny meme on X, formerly known as Twitter, about how nobody has has replaced their avatars with the Maui state flag as opposed to
a great point.
That's true.
Well, the Ukraine flag.
Doesn't it have a rainbow in it? If it had a rainbow in it, maybe it would be better. I want to just really quickly. I need to apologize in the chat. Jim Lakely. It says I hid him in the chat. Like I deleted Jim Lakely.
It might be from StreamYard.
And I did nothing. So I don't know.
I know Jim Lakely. He's a good guy, and how dare you?
I don't like him when stuff like just happens.
You just lost a subscription.
I don't want him to do that.
Guys, you need to realize how technically inept Vader is. Like we've had him running our Twitter live stream for like 4 years now, and he still can't figure it out. So whoever got blocked or banned, don't worry, we'll take care of you after the stream is done. We'll go into our settings and make sure that you're not in there. But
he might be back. That's me. That's me.
Was that Jim Lakely?
Yeah. So I hopefully he's good. But my bad. Okay. It was an accident.
But I feel like more and more creators are speaking out about stuff that is genuinely wrong in this country. And I guarantee you that we're going to be yellow money signed by YouTube as soon as the stream is over, just for talking about this stuff.
By saying Biden's a piece of shit.
Yeah. And it comes down to like this, where you have someone like Oliver Anthony, who is a viral sensation. Nobody knew who this guy was like a couple weeks ago, right? Now, like his whole back catalog is getting downloaded and people are becoming fans of his, and he's becoming a legitimate superstar. But now, like, the mainstream media is trying to cancel him. They're trying to smear him. They're trying to ignore his successes. It goes along with like all creators, right? Where like if you have something that's outside the mainstream narrative, you're instantly a target. And YouTube especially will target you. Like we have so many issues where like we'll finish a live stream. We don't even say anything controversial. No. And YouTube will demonetize our stream immediately. They'll say it's not suitable for all advertisers. And you're just like, what did we say? Like how are we the bad guys here? Like at what point do advertisers be like, hey, like as long as the audience is there, like we don't care.
Well, that's part of the censorship game, by the way. They don't tell you exactly what you did wrong. A, because they can't, and B, because then they put it in your head, okay, I'm never going to go near the line, or I'm going to avoid certain topics because I don't want to get censored again. So you self-censor. That's how they do it.
Yeah, indeed. They control the pocketbook, and if you want to be monetized, you have to kind of toe the line. But fortunately, we don't care because we have people like William Forbes to support us in our trying times.
I think it's going to be more in that direction, though. I think people are tired of hiding behind things.
Oh, people are fed up.
They're fed up, and it's affecting their own wallet. And I think I know there's still a mob mentality, a cult mentality, but I think it's going to start to shift when you realize like you can't put food on your own table.
It's amazing
if you keep going with this.
It's amazing how all this stuff starts ramping up when we're going directly into a
election
season.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What a coincidence.
Well, I mean, we kind of talked about Bidenomics earlier in the program, and this idea that if you go to the grocery store, right, eggs used to be like $2 for a dozen.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're like $8-9, right?
They went up and then they're down like $5.99.
But even like look at gasoline. The average gasoline price is $5 a gallon. It used to be like $2.75, something like that. We've got a situation here where groceries are more expensive, gas is more expensive. All like the staples, school supplies,
essentials. Yeah.
Everything's more expensive, and real wages aren't going up.
Nope.
Yeah.
But from what we're hearing from our politicians, it's like, oh, everything's fine.
Everything's good.
Everything's good.
No problem.
Well, the good thing is that the poor people don't get impacted by these price raises. They're immune to it. So
people can't buy houses because of the interest rates going on.
Yep.
Most people who have bought their starter house, that's going to be their house for the rest of their life because they were able to get in at a lower percent. I mean,
plus, around here, they're selling $160,000 homes for $500,000. It's ridiculous.
And with the whole grocery thing too, I have an autoinflammatory disease. I have to eat a certain way, and it's even way more. It was expensive to begin with because I can't have certain things. It's even double. So I can't imagine people who have conditions where they can't just eat ramen and eggs and just basic necessities.
But if you look at the entertainment industry in conjunction with that, right? Christian, like we talked about this before, but like to go to a movie for like a family of 4, it's well over $100 just to get in the door. And then like, $20 for popcorn and all this other stuff. Like it becomes a huge expense to go to the movies. Yeah, exactly.
Meg 2 is worth it, but most movies aren't.
but like how are consumers supposed to, deal with that going forward, where like it becomes so expensive just to have like a good entertainment experience that you're just trapped in your home and like you're paying maybe like $8 a month for Netflix or something like that.
Yeah. Try Tubi. It's a very good platform. It has commercials, but doesn't have a ton of commercials. And it's got a crush of movies and TV shows. So,
but it's got to be a situation where basically the policies that Hollywood has advocated for are coming back to bite it in the rear because they're making less money because of the politics that they've pushed. Yeah, and it's getting to a point where like they're not going to be able to justify their expenses. Like Disney's already on the ropes.
Yeah. And even with their parks too, it's expensive to go to. It used to be where you could go to Disney as a family vacation, maybe once a year, maybe once every other year. Now it's again like a house payment, like a house down payment just to take 2 kids to Disney for a week.
That's 2 tickets.
You could even go to Europe for cheaper than that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
They're out of touch.
And it's the same thing I've been saying. It's going to make it to a point where people are going to become more conservative of where they want to spend their money, where they want to do things, where they want to spend their media. I've noticed too, and I don't know, I feel like physical media also is starting to disappear, where things are going to streaming, but they're not going into physical media either.
Yeah, it's a weird situation.
Hey guys, if you like this podcast, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and comment below on your favorite video as well. That goes a long way with helping us boost our channel and get out there in front of more people. And it lets YouTube know that we're doing something right. And if you want to catch us live, we go live 2 times a week, once on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time and on Tuesdays at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. So join us there in the chat. We will see you on the live stream. Stay salty.